folks. Welcome to Woodstock Regional Artists. I'm your host, Sal Michio, coming to you from my home studio in West Hurley, New York, along with our engineer, producer, David Lax, at the control room in Studio A in Saugerties, New York. Tonight's guest is a vocalist, songwriter, guitarist, and band leader, Joey Eppard. Good evening, Joey. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So listen, who were your early influences in music? I know your dad, Jimmy, might have been, but you might have had some other influences.
Musical family obviously is an influence in and of itself. So I was just around a lot of great music. Before I even knew what was going on. My parents were spinning like a lot of Stevie Wonder and you name it. If it was good, my dad was into it. So, but what I really latched onto, I would have to say, would be John Lennon and the Beatles. I remember I got this album for Christmas one year. It was actually a compilation called Imagine, from the documentary that was done on John Lennon, and it was just filled with so much great stuff. I come back to that record a lot, and and I was also into some more contemporary stuff at the time, like Michael Jackson and Prince, and then I kind of as I grew up and started exploring, I really got into Stevie Wonder, and then started really getting into songwriting. Joni Mitchell. I got into Ani DeFranco. Was a big influence, and then of course a lot of classic rock like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. Yes. Get into more prog like types of music. I always just enjoyed good stuff, and as I've continued to evolve, I really got into a singer-songwriter by the name of Elliott Smith, and then also Nico Case I'm a big fan of, and Imogene Heap. I mean, I could just keep going. I love music, so.
How old were you when you started playing guitar?
I was 9.
9.
I was 9 years old, and before I played guitar, my parents had given me a little synthesizer about the size of this, and it was it cost like $100 back in the day because it was like new technology. but
Right.
but yeah, I actually started learning music on that, and then I moved on to guitar. And my dad was such a phenomenal guitar player; he was light years beyond anything I could really conceive of. So I went to someone else to learn from, a teacher by the name of Lee North, and she was amazing. I used to go upstairs above the Bowery Dugout in Kingston, the restaurant, and she had a little room up there where she taught me guitar lessons, and she taught me a couple chords, and I took it from there.
Well, that's interesting. You've been with a number of bands, but I think your primary band is Three. And tell us about the members of Three and how Three got started.
Three's been around a long time, so that's there's a lot there. But the current lineup of Three, it's myself, it's Chris Gartman on the drums, and Daniel Grimslin on the bass, and Daniel's out on the West Coast these days, and then Billy Riker, who's still my neighbor here in Port Ewan, on guitar.
Cool. You have a number of CDs here. I'd like to mention them. Been to the Future, The Ghost You Gave to Me, Revisions, The End Is Begun, Wake Pig, Summer Camp Nightmare, A Half-Life, and Paint by Numbers. Are any of those new CDs, or is this all stuff that you had out for a while?
Yeah, this stuff's all been out for a while. It's actually been quite a while since we've released something brand new. But I am working on new music now, so that's good.
Okay, so let's start with our first video of the night. It's from a live in concert. Concert was in 2011. This is Joey Eppard and Shadow Play.
Got what I wanted, now I don't know. I dream of falling and there's nothing below. When I woke today, I found you'd run away. I should have warned you that this house is haunted. there's nothing left to say. Still I watch your shadow play. Don't forget my love. Don't forget my love for you. Oh, don't forget my love. Don't forget my love for you. I scaled the wall, the engine stalled. I dream of flying while the sky is falling. Still you're moving in under my skin. Guess I should warn you that this house is haunted. And though I turn away, you know I watch your shadow play. Don't forget my love. Don't forget my love for you. Don't forget my love. Don't forget my love for you. Whispers on a shelf, whispers to myself. Love you. Whispers all I know, whispers of a ghost. I love you. Saw what I saw, know what I know. You feed the fires in my mountain of snow. When I close my eyes, feel the red sunrise. Set a fire this morning to perform our last goodbye. But so fast I turn away. You know I watch your shadow play. Don't forget my love. Don't forget my love for you. No, you don't forget my love. No, you don't forget my love. No, you don't forget my love. No, you don't. Oh, you don't forget my love. No, you don't forget my love for you.
Joey, that was really sweet. Shadow play. What went into the writing of that tune?
I remember working on that one while we were on tour, and I just had this like line, "Don't forget my love," kept sort of repeating for me, and I kind of filled in everything else around that. And we just, to me, that was one of those magical performances where everything clicked, in a live setting, and I think we actually played the song better than the studio version of that song.
So you play with a number of groups. I'd like to mention a few of them here. Coheed and Cambria, Scorpion, Heart, George Clinton and P-Funk,
Yeah.
Little Feat, Todd Rundgren, Orleans. Boy, that's a great group of groups and more. Tell us about some of your experience in playing with these people.
Well, when it comes to Coheed and Cambria, I mean, those guys are family, basically, literally and figuratively. So back in the day, in the early 2000s, they used to rehearse in my living room. And my brother Josh was playing drums for them. So, I got to watch those guys write their first record and rehearse it. And then they went and recorded it. And They signed a record deal and blew up, and it was actually pretty inspiring to see them go from rehearsing in my living room to being on my TV in my living room. Of course, gave us a shot to come out on the road with them, and we toured all over the country together. Had a great time and had a lot of great experiences.
So you also were a band member with Drugs, with members of P-Funk, Travis Stevens, Fired Deuce,
Mm-hmm.
and you've done some Steely Dan tributes with Jerry Marotta and Beatles and Traffic tributes with Scott Petito. So do you enjoy doing tributes? It seems like an interesting way of getting music out there.
Yes, I do. Really, really cool experience for me. It's taught me a lot. Singing other people's songs gives me a perspective on my own material that's priceless.
You burst on the scene in the 90s, and you played Woodstock 94. It says here that Michael Lang was your manager at the time.
Yes, yeah, we had, started cutting our teeth, kind of playing little gigs here and there in Woodstock. And I remember my dad would bring me over to the Tinker Street Cafe, and I still have my first dollar that I made from music from playing there.
Oh, really?
But, I put it in a box and I saved it. Michael was actually, I think, renting the property to Michael Birnbaum, who had a studio. And we were there doing chores and stuff in exchange for studio time. And so we recorded some stuff, and eventually I think Mike Birnbaum played it for Michael Lang, and he got interested, because we were kids. We had a real sound, like we could play, and we had some good songs, and
right.
It just kind of steamrolled from there. And before I knew it, my big summer of 17, I was 17 years old, and I got to play Woodstock 94.
How did you feel on stage at that night? What was the feeling that you had?
I would describe it like this: it's a wave of energy that comes at you and comes through you.
So let's show another video here. This is also from Staying In with Joey Eppard. It's one of my favorites, Joey. This is a song I've heard you play at many venues, and I always love hearing it. This is In America.
See you, you see me, we see through. What are we gonna do? Thought my life would never change, but I changed my mind. I've got to rearrange. We got our buildings high, we got our buildings full, but in America, we need a miracle. In America, 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 we need a miracle. I spend my time feeling low, but the time has come for to let it go. Peace and love come under fire. Lord above, I can't imagine why. Oh, we got our buildings high, we got our bellies full, but in America, we need a miracle. In America, 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 we need a miracle. never change. I changed my mind, I got a real brain. Spend my time feeling low. The time has come, we gotta let it go. Peace and love coming on undefined. Lord above, I can't imagine why. I can't imagine why the buildings high, our bellies full. In America, we need a miracle. America, America, America. We need a miracle. In America, America, America. We need a miracle. In America, America, America. Oh, we need a miracle. America, a miracle, a miracle. In America, America, a miracle, America. We need a miracle. America, a miracle, miracle, America, America. We need a miracle. America, miracle, America, America, a miracle. Oh, we need a miracle. America, a miracle, a miracle. In America, America, a miracle, a miracle. In America. Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's a very appropriate song for today also, Joey. How did you come about writing that tune?
That one, I just was hearing this this little melody, this little story, and so I had it kind of vocally. I knew what I wanted to do, and then I was working with my friend. I don't know if you know Robert Chicken Burke, the Bird, as he's known.
The Bird.
He actually wrote the riff, the bow, 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 to go like to kind of juxtapose against the vocal line, and so that song is a co-write.
And there's some really nice effects in that. Who did the video for that?
That's Willie Wells, WW Sound, and Willie's great. He's been helping me do these live streams, and at the time we were keeping it kind of to a minimum, so the performance is just me and my brother Josh on drums, and so it was special for us to even have a chance to get together and be in a room doing a socially distanced performance. And then I took it home and had some fun with it. I overdubbed some bass because we didn't have a bass player, so I had some fun playing a little bass on that and adding in some background vocals.
It came out great. So in '98, you signed with a major label, Universal. Mm-hmm. But as fate would have it, your record never got released. You had to go with Planet Noise Records to get it released.
It was heartbreaking, losing that deal, and we went through a rough patch after that. My brother, we hung on for a few more months, but my brother quit playing drums, and we went through a transition after that. That's when I got Chris Gartman on the drums, and we had another guy named Jason Foster join the band for a little spell, and then we released the record that we had made for Universal on Planet Noise Records. Signed a very artist-friendly deal with Planet Noise, and Tom Benton ran that label and took care of the artists.
Terrific. Terrific. What was the album? Which album was that?
So that was Paint by Number.
That was Paint by Number. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. And then you signed with Metal Blade Records, and you did a couple of CDs with them.
And this was the first record that I had decided to engineer and mix and build from the ground up totally by myself, rather than spend the money on a few weeks in a studio. I spent the money on the gear to do it ourselves, and so that gave us the freedom to kind of spend more time on the making of the music, and that record, we got a nice little distribution going, and it found its way to the desk of a man named Brian Slagle. He fell in love with our band, and he wanted us, on his label, and we were like, well, we didn't necessarily see ourselves as fitting in there, but we thought that was cool, that we're so different from everything else, that it's just crazy enough that it could work. And the main thing is having people that believe in what you do, and so we made a bunch of records for those guys, and we toured and did a lot of great stuff. Traveled all around the world.
Nice, good story. So you had a bit of a hiatus in 2014. Some family illnesses. I knew about your mom because your dad was playing music with me. He's in my band, Salted Pros. But I didn't find out about Melissa and Julie until later on. Would you like to discuss that a little bit?
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah. So we'd kind of reached a point with 3 where we'd put out like what we considered to be our masterpiece, which was The Ghost You Gave to Me. And I had become a dad, so it was like taking a little time off and having that experience, and that it's kind of like a very intense and beautiful and amazing. And during that time we did, my mom was spending a lot of time with us, and we noticed that she was having trouble remembering things, like just little things at first, and she would have to write a lot of things down. And then we took her. I decided I needed to take her to a doctor because it just didn't seem like something you should ignore. And at that point, it was already like significant memory loss, and it was a really hard thing to wrap my head around. So that was a tough blow. And then it was like a few months later when Julian was about 3 or going for 3. He started his first school type experience, and we could tell like the teachers were kind of giving us a look, and they had kind of like suggested that we should have him evaluated, and that started a process that led to his diagnosis. It was tough, and then a few months after that, Melissa found a lump in her breast, and it it kept kind of snowballing, and then we went on that journey. It was a tough ride because we were trying to get our bearings with these other things that were happening in the family, and we really just had to break it all down, and I did my best to be there for my family, and it was hard because music is how I deal with things. But I couldn't really go to music anymore, and I couldn't really focus on music as my career because there was just too many visceral things happening that just I needed to deal with. I feel like we're really on the other side of it now. Melissa defeated that cancer, and
thank God.
And I'm just so grateful for that. And what at first was kind of upsetting when I thought of my son's diagnosis. It's turned into, he teaches me. He's really unique and really special, and I feel so blessed to have a being like that in my life. My mom did pass away this year, and back in May, and that was the end of a really hard journey. And I'm far enough on the other side of it now where I can take the horror of this experience and make it something positive, which is seeing the value of the opportunity to be alive every day, and talk to people, or to even look at people and know who they are, to know who you are, who your family is, to be able to participate in this reality and help people, make music. It's just, there's just no excuse. And that now that I've seen what can happen, it's like you got to make the most out of every second you got. It's just
every day. Exactly.
It's the only way to live. And so I took that to heart, and that's got me refocused on music, because that's who I am. That's what I want to do.
So, okay, Joey, with Julian and Melissa on the mend, so to speak, you began writing again and performing again. And even though the band wasn't being booked anywhere, you had some activity on Facebook with a group called Alien Angels. And you continued to grow online. And I believe at one point in time you were hitting 20,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. That's pretty interesting. That's a lot of listeners. It's time for another video, Joey, and this one here is also from Staying In with Joey Eppard. It's called Treetops.
Sleepwalking through the early dark, I got a couple of arrows left to miss my mark. Thank God I made you who you are, 'cause if it didn't, any minute I'd be singing them over par. Am I right so far? I'd be stranded in a treetop. I can't get down. Oh no, stuck up in the worst of ways, 'cause my heart stays on the ground. Stranded in a treetop, I can't get down. Oh no, stuck up in the worst of ways, 'cause my heart stays on the ground. Some men got sadness in their soul. One might scramble up a tree, a few might dig a hole. Thank God made me who I am. 'Cause if I were a deep current, how could I understand who's the better man? I'd be stranded in a treetop, I can't get it down. Oh no, stuck up in the worst of ways, 'cause my heart stays on the ground. Stranded in a treetop, I can't get it down. Ooh, stuck up in the worst of ways, 'cause my heart stays on the ground. Please come back home. I am alone here, disowned here. The higher I climb, it never ends though. As friends go, no less goodbye. My belly aches, do whatever it takes to get me down. Oh yeah, stranded in a treetop, I can't get it down. Oh no, stuck up in the worst of ways, 'cause my heart stays on the ground. Stranded in a treetop, I can't get it down. Ooh, stuck up in the worst of ways, 'cause my heart stays on the ground. I know I'm stranded in a treetop, and I can't get down. I'm stuck up in the worst of ways. Stuck up in the worst of ways. La, la, la. down. Look at what I found. I'll be high above the people on the ground, looking up at another looking down. Look at what I found. 'Cause I'd be stranded in a treetop. I'd be stranded in a treetop. I'll be stranded all night long. I'm stuck up when I sing my song. Stranded all night long without you. Stranded all night long. I'm stuck up when I sing my song. Stranded all night long without I'll be stranded all night long. I'm stuck up when I sing my song. Stranded all night long without stranded all night long. Stuck up when I sing my song. I'll be stranded all night long without you. I'll be stranded in a treetop. I'd be stranded in a treetop. I'll be stranded in a treetop. I'll be stranded. I'd be stranded.
Okay, Joey, that was a nice tune. What was the incentive in writing that tune?
That one started with the groove. Just kind of settled into this idea of being stranded in a treetop. This is one that I really love playing with my brother.
I understand that Melissa was the brains behind you starting the Staying In with Joey Eppard live stream. She's a good manager to have around.
She is indeed, yes. It's working out great. Yeah, I mean, she definitely started talking up the idea, like, hey, what do we, because here we were, we're staying in, we're home, people need something to do. There's a learning curve, I think, when it comes to live streaming, and we were really lucky to have Willie Wells and WW Sound, because he'd been working on this. He'd been talking about doing this for a while, so he'd already worked everything out, and we went over there. That led to me starting a Patreon and actually trying to finish my next solo album, which is, it's coming along nicely.
Right. And so you planned a 3 reunion show last year, I believe it was. And I was at it, but I was way back, so far back I couldn't see the stage from where I was. But the place was packed, and I can hear people saying where they came from. They came from all over the country, even down from Canada. It was a fantastic reunion you had there. And I believe this next video that we're going to show is from that reunion, live at Bearsville, September 1st, 2019. And we're going to play Only Child.
Severed the cord, you broke the line. You turned an only child. Just before you buried the blade, your eyes betrayed the spark of another one, pure at heart. Another day our daily bread, another night of the living dead. It's like an ocean upon you. So you did what you did and you said what you said. Put your pen to the page and a gun to your head. Got it all worked out this time. But you can't be sure they're dead. Still the footsteps fall in an empty hall. The voices echo in your head. Ashes rain raining down, your eyes replied. They told us so, did you? When the fires barreled down the mountainside, I saw your senses fade. So I painted a word in the dust with my blood. Signed the seal of the living dead. I'm looking down upon you. So you did what you did and you said what you said. Put your pen to the page and a gun to your head. Got it all worked out this time. But you can't be sure they're dead. Still the footsteps fall in an empty hall. The voices echo in your head. You can't be sure they're dead.
you mentioned the Patreon, Joey. I understand you launched the Patreon, and so people that are supporters get some privileges. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I wanted to kind of open the door and let people get involved in the process, to hear my songs, um, before they're actually released to the public. So, if you join my Patreon right now, there's like 5 or 6 brand new songs you can hear, in various forms, and get a sense of what I'm doing, where I'm going, and sort of even help guide the process a little bit. I listen to what people have to say. I've got some uh, really smart, creative people who are involved. And I've also been doing one-on-one Zoom lessons, like helping people with, to learn some of my wacky guitar techniques, because I have a sort of unique finger style. And
Yeah, yeah.
people
I
are
call.
interested in learning vocals and songwriting too. So.
So we're coming to an end of our show, and I'd like to let people know where they can find you and give your websites for us, please.
Good spot to go is joeyeppard.com. You can go to theband3.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, all that good stuff.
Right.
You can find links to my Patreon from my website, and if you want to get involved with that, it's just it's a lot of fun. It's a great community, and it's growing. So
Right.
I highly recommend.
So do I. So do I. Joey, how about your tip jar? Would you tell us which tip jars you have?
I've got I've got a PayPal tip jar, and also you can find me on Venmo, also, which is I think at Joey-Eppard.
Terrific. This has been a great evening, and I really enjoyed it. And it's been a pleasure to listen to your stories, and of course, I love your music, and really want to thank you for coming on and gracing our show.
My pleasure, Sal. Thanks for having me.
Thank
David
you,
as well. Thank you.
and we look forward to getting out there live again and seeing you in
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
Right. Well, folks, that's our show for this evening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did having it coming to you. Tune in next Tuesday. We'll have another special guest. Until then, be safe out there and support your local artist in any way you can. Thank you, and good night.